Here you can see the 4 best practices that I recommend. By now, you already know the query and assign functions. I'll also explain a new function eval and show you more on how to nest pandas operations together. As you have seen earlier, I suggested query as a superior way to select data. I'm going to elaborate that further with the following exercise. That is, find all Dutch airplanes leaving Amsterdam and arriving at London Heathrow Airport. Without using query function, we have to create a selector that fills the origin. Then the second one, filtering out the destination. And lastly, we have the final statement, which selects the airplane with registration starting with PH. This code is convoluted, and I just don't think it's beautiful. So let's try the query function. As you know already, you can specify the condition for origin, destination, and the registration in one statement. This can quickly give us a new data frame with code that is human-friendly. What if you want to use a runtime variable in your query string? No worries, it can be done easily. First, let's create 2 variables, airport 1 and airport 2. These will be the origin and destination airports. Then we can construct a query. Since we want to use these 2 local variables, we need to add an @ in front of each variable. This way, they are treated as a reference to the local variables. So, @airport 1 and @airport 2. And here we have the result. I also mentioned that the advantage of using a assign function to create new columns. I want to show you another use case of adding a new feature for flight duration. As you have seen earlier, the traditional way of creating the new columns calls the setting with copy warning, and as you make a copy of the slice df1. But using assign operation in the conjunction with the query function will not create such a risk. Here, we first query the origin airport, then let's assign a new column called duration. I'm using a lambda function to handle the intermediate result passed to assign after the query. We can see the result is produced without any problem. There is even a more elegant approach, that is, using the eval function. The eval function evaluates a string expression and eliminates the use of lambda function in the previous assign operation. Here we simply call eval duration equals last thing minus first thing. After running the cell, we obtain the same result as the previous example. I'm sure by now you have seen several examples of nesting operations in pandas. Now I will bring this to the next level with the following exercise and show you what pandas superpower you have now. Feel free to pause the video and work out the solution by yourself. In this exercise, I want to get all flights from Amsterdam Airport and calculate the flight duration and distance. After that, I want to group by destination and calculate the mean duration and distances. And finally, I want to show destinations with more than 100 flights. Let's get started. First, we do a query with a filter on the origin. Then, use eval function, we create a new feature, duration, based on 2 existing features. I also want to use assign function to calculate the distance between the start and the end. Let's recall the calc distance function we had earlier. We use apply function to obtain all distance. The line is getting a bit too long. Let's reformat it using Python Black. Pressing Ctrl-Shift-I, and we now have a nice block of code. Next, we continue with a group operation by destination. Then the aggregation function, or AGG for short, provides the mean duration, the mean distance, and the flight count. Let's run this cell again. Now we get an update data frame. We are almost there. We can reset the index level and rename the last column to count. Then we query the destination with more than 100 flights and sort the result by flight count in descending order. And finally, we have our result with a beautiful block of code with nested pandas operation.